Hello everyone. Today we are going to be talking about looping, or more specifically, while loops. Now, what exactly is looping? Why is it helpful? Well, let's say we want to run a certain code over and over and over again, right? Now, there's two reasons why we want to do that. We want to run a code like 10 times or 20 times, right? We might want to go over each element in a list. We might want to loop or iterate through that list. We'll talk about that later. Or, in the case of while loops, you might want to run something until a condition is met. And let's see what exactly that means. So in our first example, I'm going to be showing you how to create a very basic while loop. So we have a counter c equals 0. Then we have while c is less than 10. Now, c is less than 10 will return a boolean, true or false, right? So we have c equals 0. While c is less than 10, what are we going to do? Well, we're simply going to print c. But before we do that, we are going to increase the counter by 1. Okay? Now, let's see what this entails. As you can see, we print all the numbers from 1 to 10 because each iteration or each part of the loop, so an iteration is basically one cycle of a loop, and there's like 10 cycles in this case because you go over it 10 times. We do c plus equals 1, which basically we're increasing the counter by 1, and then we're printing c until c is equal to 10. Now that c is equal to 10, 10 is not less than 10, and therefore this while loop will stop. Now what happens if we don't have this? C will never be less than 10. So what will happen is a very bad infinite loop. And if you're not using a powerful code editor like Replit or anything like that with inbuilt loop protection, infinite loop protection, then you're gonna face a lot of hurt. See, it just keeps on printing out 0. And you want to avoid this as much as possible. And to do that, you have to make sure that your condition is always met. Okay, so we'll add that c plus equals 1. Now, let's talk about another example, and I want to more specifically pay attention to the differences between pass and continue. So, in this case, what I want to do is I want to create a program that prints out the multiple of 3. So let's try this. C is equal to 0, while C is less than 21. Okay, so we're just going to go till 21, right? What I want to do is I want to print out the number if it's a multiple of 3. How do I do this? If C modulo 3 is equal to 0. So what is modulo again? Just as a reminder, C modulo 3 basically means what's the remainder of C divided by 3. So let's say we do 7 divided by 3, we'll get a remainder of 1, and therefore this if statement won't happen. But if we do 6 modulo 3, and remember 6 divided by 3, it's divisible, right? We get 0 because there's no remainder, and therefore we can say that this is a multiple of 3. So let's print out string C is a multiple of 3. It rhymes. Okay? I think we might have to add a space there. Okay? And then we're going to add something called continue, and I'll show you what that does later. Okay? And then else, and you might have seen this in the text adventure game, we're going to pass. Okay? And then we're going to print right here. C is not a multiple of 3. Now you might be wondering, why can't I just print that in the else? I just want to show you what pass does. You can do it in the else. So let's see what this code, or I'm actually missing something. I need to add the C++. or c plus equals 1. Because if I don't do that, then I'll have an infinite loop. So now let's see what happens. I think this will work. Okay, that looks about right. Now let's go over what continue and pass mean. Okay, pass is very simple. It basically means do nothing. It's like basically there's nothing in the else statement, but that will usually result in an error, so we just say pass, meaning nothing will execute. We don't want anything to happen. We just want to say that if this condition happens, nothing should happen. We just continue on. It doesn't really do anything, but the continue is very specific to loops. And what it does is that if the code, when running the loop, hits a continue, right, it will skip the rest of this code, meaning that none of this, whatever's down here, will execute, and it'll just go to the next iteration. It'll start from back up here, right? And this could be useful if we're doing a lot of checking, right? If we're like checking multiple things, and then we see that, oh, this one check means that we don't have to check the rest of the things, right? Like we check if a box is brown, okay? If the box is brown, we're good. But if the box is not brown, we need to check to see if the box has, let's say, a bear in it. I don't know. It might be a program, right? But if the box is already brown, then we know there's no bear in it. We'll just continue, meaning that we don't have to run the rest of the code, and it's much more efficient. And that's why this does not run, and only this runs. Okay? And again, you could put this in the past statement, but I just wanted to make a point on what continue does. We want to loop forever. Now you might think that this is going to cause an infinite loop. Well, there's a very special keyword we can use, and I'll show you that. This can be very useful when, let's say, you want to ask the user for input if they want to exit, and the program keeps on running until they don't exit. So let's say ask user equals input. Do you want to exit? Enter E. Right? And then we'll add a new line right there. And then if ask user dot lower, remember we always like to check multiple conditions, equals E. What do? We break. Now this keyword break basically means break out of the loop no matter what. So I can put, instead of continue, if I put break here, when we reach the first multiple, like 3, right, it'll just stop the entire loop. So it can be very useful, let's say, when you want to stop a loop in the middle of it. You don't want to go through everything. You just want to check a condition, and if you meet that condition, you just stop the entire loop. So let's see how that works. You want to exit? No. Well, okay, fine. I'm bored of this. I want to exit. And then you exit. Now, this is basically what while loops are used for. They're really helpful for checking a condition, right? You keep on doing things till a condition is met. But something that is probably much more useful for loops is something that's a bit more complicated, and that something that we'll get into next time. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please go to bit.ly/ycw discord. Everything will be in the description below. I'll see you.